Hello, my name is Carl. Thanks for stopping by. Now that we have the waterfall in place, let's build the home. I had originally built a large stone tower here, but it was a very large eyesore, and it just didn't work. It was just ugly. Tore it down. Started over. The inspiration for this house comes from Warhammer Fantasy, which in turn took its inspiration from Tudor-style architecture. So the materials that I'm using here are castle wall blocks, one of my favorite stone blocks, and the half-timbered block for the upper floors, and slate tiles for the roof. And I think that's a pretty accurate depiction of Tudor-style architecture done here in the game Enshrouded. I'm using shroud wood for the floors for a dark, aged look. I had used refined wood. Also looks really nice. Either one of those is a good choice. One of the features of the building that really sells the look is this overhang that I'm building right now. It's a bit more work because you can't use the snap option, but without the overhang, there's no depth to it. A little history for you. In the 15th to early 17th century, this overhang was called jettying, and the upper floors were called jetties, the jetty. You might see this referred to as jettied or jetty fronting. Anyway, there were a few reasons for this. I think taxes were probably the big one. The first floor footprint back then determined the taxes required. So they made a smaller footprint, larger upstairs. There were some other benefits to this because it kept rain off people, it kept rain off the foundation. Now, depending on where you were in England, I think earlier homes used mostly limestone, but also sandstone. I prefer castle wall block as it matches the stone here in Revelwood, and I think it's a good fit. Later buildings used brick for more upscale homes. There's a sign of wealth, sign that you're doing well. I might try that with some of the other buildings, smaller buildings around here down by the pond. So let's build some walls. Note that I don't start all the way in the corner. I want to match the footprint, but that overhang, I'm going to have to come back and place corner pieces. I don't want the walls to go all the way out over the edge. I want to leave a little spot there, so sometimes I'll start there we go. And I did this one wrong, so I'm going to have to fix that. You can see there's a hole there in the corner. I'm going to remove this and move it over. There we go. Not having the snap feature, like I said, is a little more work, but the end result is going to be worth it. So I'm going to fill in this gap and then fill in the corner. You know, when you look back on a build and its evolution, like, well, I don't have blueprints for this. I had a picture of something. Actually, I found a picture on... I actually looked for Warhammer Fantasy, Mordheim, and I was trying to get inspiration, and I found a kit, a model on eBay that someone was selling, and I was like, that looks just the right size to put here. I'll put a link to their eBay store in the description for anyone who wants to go check out what they have to offer. So as I mentioned, I'm using that model as inspiration, and I went back and forth on how closely to stick to it and how much I wanted to divert from it. In some cases, I didn't have any choice. The original model has this interesting little circular tower that juts off the side, but we don't have circular works in here. Everything's voxel, so it's all square. So that really isn't an option. So I chose to at least initially not do that. You can see that the upper support pieces for this, what I'm building right here, are stone, which matches the original model, but I think in reality, if someone were to build this home, those wouldn't be stone, those would be wood. So I might go back to wood. So this is not on the original model. This is, as I was walking around the home, I was like, there's no kitchen. Gotta have a kitchen for all the cooking stuff. And I thought maybe having something of a different material, an older material. This is the flintstone block. I've extended the fireplace down onto this level, and I think I'm going to make it a kind of a brick oven pizza maker. We're going to have it go all the way through, so it's two sides, not just one side. This little invention of mine, I'm quite pleased with. I take the little itty-bitty little fireplace and throw it in this little nook, and it looks great. Almost as if the designers intended it. However, like many of my builds, I start out with an idea, try it, and it doesn't work. That kitchen was just too small. So I spent some time excavating the hill again. As you can see, I've cleared a lot of space out. And I'm now creating a more suitable kitchen. Twice as big as what it was. Again, still using the flintstone block, which I think looks so good for old rustic buildings. And this is going to be twice the size of the kitchen I had before, which seems more appropriate. Also, I had the roof line going the wrong way. The roof line that I put on this is going to go, it's going to match the angle of the original structure above. So it kind of more harmonious in its alignment versus kind of going against the grain. This looks much better. Sometimes you gotta try stuff. You gotta throw it down. Does it fit? Does it look good? I'm building these for fun, not necessarily because I need it for character leveling, you know, a place to rest, and everything's got to be efficient. I'm doing it for the build, the character build. I'm doing this because I'm setting myself in challenges. I want it to look like something that might actually have existed, and I've got this little story in my head, and it kind of goes back to when I was a kid. I loved playing with Lego blocks. Loved playing with that. I would spend hours in my room building Legos. My son builds Legos. It's awesome. And this is sort of, you know, it's just fun. You know, life can be hard sometimes, and this game has a lot of therapeutic value to it. It is very relaxing, very calming. It really helps pull your mind away from things that are troubling you. All right, let's drop in the fireplace and see what we got here. This I can snap, I think. Maybe not. That looks so good. I love this. I'm using the basic wooden door. It just feels more rustic to me. I'm going to use the basic wooden window frames. I'm going to use the really old basic shelving in here, tables. I'm not going to, I don't need it for, it's not like this is the Imperial Palace. So let's fast forward a bit and take a tour of what I've accomplished so far. I'm really happy with the direction this is going. I will probably continue to tweak and putter around with it, but for now, this is what we've got. I love the overhang. We'll take a tour around the outside. So in my world canon, in my fantasy imaginings, what used to sit here was either a stone tower, and then it fell into ruin, and then someone came along and built this little cottage next to it. Or the cottage was here first, and they came along and built this fort up around the outside of it, and then it fell into ruin, and then someone came along and built the upper levels, the sort of country home. So as I noted earlier, this back room was just too small for a kitchen. I love the flintstone for this kind of cottage look, though. This is where all the cooking happens. Quite proud of my fireplace, my brick oven for pizza. I gotta get some weapons hung up along here. Oh, the fireplace. I think this build took about 3 hours total. Maybe 4. I'm not really sure. I didn't really keep track. It's got a great view. I had the bridge coming straight across, but I don't know, I felt like you couldn't see it from down there or up here because it was straight on. So putting it sideways makes it more visible. It also adds a little more depth to the cinematic view. Down there is a basement. Not much to see down there, just where, like most people's basements, it's where you store stuff. Not super exciting. Oh, we'll go upstairs. And this is the bed bath. I don't have a sink yet. I feel like I kind of want a little study for books and things, so I may knock out this wall and extend that way, or I may do a bump out in the corner that goes up, or I may just build a little alcove up there and a ladder reaching up to it. A little loft area. Don't know. But there's wonderful views from all around. That area right there used to be a well, this whole area where this is sitting was a giant hill that I carved out. And if you want to come out and you want to enjoy the waterfall and more of this view, you can. And there's a little secret. I carved out a little cave behind the waterfall. You can't quite see from down there. And that's it. That's Falling Waters. I hope you enjoyed the build. Thanks for coming along for the ride.